So thank you. Thank you very much for having me here and for the invitation. I hopefully will give you an overview of how you can go very fast and basically furious fast headless with Next.js. I'm not going to like cover the basics of the Next.js. The expectation is that you little bit know about the Next.js and Vue.js, but it's like nothing complicated, no complicated code. So even if somebody is like totally new in the Vue.js and at least know the JavaScript, then they should be okay and understand the point. The idea is like so at first I should introduce myself. So my name is Snopko, and oh sorry, I have to click on here, and this is me. Basically, I'm right now working as a developer in Storyblok, but that was not always like that. I was starting like I discovered Storyblok like 3 years ago and was looking for a very good headless solution for Next.js. And at that time, I just tried different other solutions, and I was really happy with the Storyblok. And basically, I did some ambassading, going on different meetups in Europe mainly. And conferences, and told about the Storyblok, Next.js, which I loved already like before. And at the end, it's ended that this year I joined the Storyblok. So that's me. Before that, I was working as any other web engineer in the front end, mostly creating a website for various agencies, and working and with a high emphasis on design. As that's why I'm like saying it was like kind of DesignOps. I'm speaking, doing some meetups, which is like right now, it's not so often. And I'm a huge fan of VueJS, Next.js. I'm like always ambassading for these two technologies. Even I'm looking and learning a new technology, I still these two technologies in my big, like very close to my heart. So yeah, Star Wars fan as a just funny fact. And if you have any questions during the talk, you can ask me also in the Twitter. It is just my name, so Twitter @SamuelSnopko. Write me direct message or just tweet, and I will answer any questions basically about the talk or any other interesting topic you would like to have and ask about. So this talk is basically about the coding and showing you how to go to how to set up your Next.js project and go from zero, really from zero, to deploying your project in 30 minutes, plus minus, depends on how fast I am talking. And so that's why I'm not going to show you any more slides, basically. I'm going to jump directly to the code and how you should start. The first question is always, and the best recommendation after some years of trying different approaches, it's definitely you just go to your terminal and go for yarn create next step. In this case, I'm going to create a blazingly fast showcase. So basically we are using the starting template for the Next.js team, and we are going to use the name as I already said. Then I'm using still a JavaScript. You could use various like setups here. Go for yarn. Then definitely I'm going to right now doing all the styling in the Tailwind CSS. We don't need any XCS progressive or content modules from the Next.js team, which you could like consider content for a very fast, rapid prototyping maybe. And also you could have XCS, but we don't need those for this. Linking tools, I'm also not going to use any of those right now, but I recommend for real projects to use them. They can save you a lot of time. And the setup is really important nowadays. From testing, we're not going to test, of course. We will be like deploying or doing the whole website, which we will be building as a universal app. So basically it was with server-side rendering, with server-side generation. And we will cover the topic how you could do that. It's not covered in detail in the talk, but in the article I will share with you. And the last thing is, of course, the deployment would be like static JAMstack hosting, which will be like Vercel, Netlify, and other services which are out there. And I'm using VS Code, so that's why I'm choosing the JS config. After this, you basically, this is new, so version control is the Git, and then it's just creating your folder structure and everything you needed for the Next.js. To save some time, let's jump directly into the folder and how it look like. So basically, this is the structure you would get after everything, when right? And then you can just test it. So let's test if everything is set up correctly and go for yarn dev. So we will start our local host and basically like our local development. And we will see on the local host 3000 if everything is running. So let's open the local host 3000. And okay, the website's up and we see the welcome screen from the Nuxt.js. And that's where it's pointing to documentation on GitHub. So everything is working on the Nuxt.js side. We don't need to do any more setup right now here. We just now we will jump to the Storyblok and set up the Storyblok because we don't have any content right now and we need to present some content on our website. So let's jump to the Storyblok. And in the Storyblok, you go to the login. And after that, this is basically the starting screen for any of your projects. Yeah, we are going to create a new space where we will hold all our content. It's very similar in many headless CMSs. You just create something. There are all your projects on the left side, and then we can create a new project. So I'm not going to make it very complicated. We will call it Blazing the Fast Showcase. We are creating a new space. You could duplicate or create a demo or even share space. Right now, I'm just creating that, and my space was created. As I'm the advanced user, I don't need to like step-by-step tutorial. So let's close this. And first thing you can see here is that we already created some content for you. So it's not really empty. And in the content, you can see there is a story, which is called home and which represent, in this case, your index page or home page, or like many languages have a different names for this. So let's open it and check what is there. As you will open it, you will notice there's like visual editor, which is not working right now and showing basically only links for tutorials. But on the right side, you can see that our page has had defined some schema and already created some content. So we have some field called body, and this is basically a listing of all our components, which right now is the contains one teaser with content hello world. As we don't have here basically any content, let's focus on this. So I just close this, and then we have a grid, and this grid contains basically content three other like list of other components, and in this case are three features. We can already start to basically edit the content. We could add like a new feature here, or we can create a new blog like new teaser and say like, okay, let's create a teaser. Let's say like, hello Columbus. So okay. And I can go. I created the content. I don't do anything really in that content. I can save it, I can publish it, and I can also like query the JSON I would like to get through the REST API to my application. And this is basically the output. So that's nice, but let's do something with it, because like we just editing the existing content and we don't. So what we need to do, and as you can see here in middle of the screen, we have a API token, and so we should use this token to get get our data to the Nuxt.js, and to make it even easier, we already created for that a module for the Nuxt.js, which is called Storyblok Nuxt, and I will just copy paste it because I will definitely make a typo there. So and what we need to do is just basically add a Storyblok module there. So Storyblok, we are adding and installing the Storyblok Nuxt module. And now we need to do a very simple and very fast setup in the Nuxt config. So there we are going to open Nuxt config, going to modules, and in modules, I will just uncomment these few lines of code I already prepared, as I'm not going to type more or less anything here because there will be a lot of typos. And as you can see, there is like module, and in the configuration of this module, we just need to use an access token. And the access token in this case is should be our access to our space. So let's replace this with this token we already like saw once. So let's copy paste this and let's add it here. In this case, we could start and we have an access token. The first thing, and one note I would like to tell here, don't do this as I did just right now, because right now I just basically copy pasted the token into the Nuxt config file. But this should be in the .env file here probably, and that is my recommendation also. And you just get it from your environment variables. And then also, if you are deploying it to the Versa or whatever we are deploying, you should save also those tokens there. that you are not creating like a security issue in your project, that your access token is just saved into GitHub or whatever you are using. Okay, let's save this and see what's changed. So let's change. Let's check. Let's start one more time our next project. Okay, we started it. Let's remove it or reload. We see that the client is bundling, the server is bundling, everything is rebuilding. It's take a little bit time. And yes, okay, everything is working, and you see the same screen. But this is okay because we just installed a module, and basically we didn't change. We didn't use the content we created in the Storyblok, but we don't get an error. So that means that it's working correctly. So what we are going to do next? As I said in the Storyblok, we have a live preview. So here, if I'm going to check here, you can see this is the visual preview. And here we should see our website probably. And right now it's set like, okay, your server address /home. And we didn't specify any server address. And I would like to preview my website definitely in the visual editor right now. And the question is how to set up it. And the setup is very easy. Just go to the settings. In the general, you can like change the default environment location, and our default like environment location in this case is our local host. So let's just copy paste the local host and add it here. But if I would like to have like multiple environments and preview URLs, I could create like something like a production here with also like a different URL, or I would go for development and just add here also a different URL. After save, I can jump back to the content and I can preview my story one more time. So let's open the home and let's see what's changed. And what we see right now is the error. And this is kind of good stuff because we see an error from the Nuxt.js, as you can see here down here in the left corner. And the problem is that basically our local is trying to reach a home. So as you can see here, it's localhost 3000/home. But we didn't define any page with the name home. If you are a little bit familiar with the Nuxt.js, you already know that that would mean that in the pages folder, which is like basically a routing in the Nuxt.js, we should create a pages.vue file, or we should have like a dynamic resolving, which would resolve the pages/pages to some to the index, for example. So let's fix this. And we don't have to fix this in the Nuxt.js, which should be one option, that we are doing a different routing. But we are our mapping, and we just did a little bit hack in Storyblok. Just you go to the config and define the real path. And why is this? Is basically that this is the home story representing the home page, and we just need to name it. And we are using this name as a slacks of your website, which makes sense definitely. And we want to also like get them through the API. If you are asking in your API for a content of the home, you know what they are asking for. But the index pages and the home pages usually don't have any slacks. So if I change the real path override, and which basically means that my visual editor knows that this page should be presented not at home, but basically override it to the empty slack, and I save it, we should see our welcome screen from the Nuxt.js. So we set up basically the Nuxt.js together with Storyblok, and right now we see inside the Storyblok our website. But we still don't see any changes if we are changing the content here. So if we do anything here, I still don't use that content. And the reason why is very simple. We have here the components which hold the content, but we don't do that in the Nuxt.js. So what I'm saying, what I'm basically talking about is like, if I go back to this like overall my space, and you can see here the section components, and I show you what is inside of this, it's like already defined four custom components. That one is page is type of the content type, and the three other one, feature, grid, and teaser, are nestable, or as we call them also blocks. So nestable just means that you can use these components inside any other component as you set up it with restrictions and all the stuff you would like to do. But and the content type is basically the highest level of the component. So this user represents the pages. So landing page, home page, article page, and so on. And if you think about it, this is exactly how it's working also the Vue.js. You can create a different granularity of the components, and then you will like nest the components into the other components, and you will create a recursively a lot of possibilities that you can create. So in this case, the feature, we just defined that it has only a name. So there is only one field of the type text, and it has nothing else. So if I just check the grid is type of the blocks. And this block means that basically you can include inside any other component. So it's like a listing of a different other components. I could like say like, okay, I would like to include in the grid on, so I'm basically going to white this only features and no other components will be allowed. Let's save it. This was like a little change. The page basically do the almost same thing. It just define the body and we are allowing all the components be used on the page. And the teaser do basically the same thing as the feature. It is just the field which is type text and called headline. So this is basically our schema right now, very simple, and we will do a little bit something more complicated later. But right now we don't present it. We don't render it on here. So let's fix this and let's set up Nuxt.js for that. We need to create components in the Nuxt.js, and I am already like cheated, of course. So I have the components ready to go on. The grid is here, and the grid basically render only a list of the components which are dynamically decided. So if I wouldn't whitelist these features, I could also dynamically decide what kind of component should be rendered here, because every component I'm going to get will have the content in the prop block, and also in the block prop there is a attribute component which is saying like, okay, this is a feature, no, this is a, or maybe this is a teaser, and the Nuxt.js using the default dynamic component called component or will be able to like render different components. This is the whole code basically of the grid. If I show the feature, there's like rendering only the name of the feature in the H1. Then there is also the teaser, which is like rendering the headline in the div, which is like a little bit, it's not semantically correct, and I should probably fix it to some other headline or paragraph. And then the last component we have is the page, and the page do also very similar thing as the grid. Which is basically it's expect that we will get all our components in the block property, and then it's going to for cycle through all of the body and basically render all of the components. So what's happening here is maybe a little bit complicated sometimes to understand, but if you look here into the content onto home, and I will present it to draft.json, you will see that basically the body is what we get to the page. So this all we will get to the page. We know it's the component page, and then there is an array of all the components with different content. But what is always saying is basically that we are saying like, okay, this is the teaser, this is the feature, this is the feature with the name too, this is the feature with no name basically, and the whole wrapper here is a grid. So we know always what to render. Okay, so I just explained what kind of components I have, but I didn't register them into the Nuxt.js. So let's do it in the old way, because there is already a better way in Nuxt.js, but let's do it with old ways. Component.js, which is a plugin. I'm going to register all of these components, and then I need to also adjust a Nuxt config. So let's use this plugin. After this, the Nuxt.js will be rebuilt, and our component should be should work. Or the question is, there is a question: will it work? So let's reload, and there's still no preview. And the reason why is there no preview is because we didn't load the data from the Storyblok, of course, and we didn't change the index page. So let's jump to the index page. If I show you the index page, as you can see, this is the default code you will get. I will hide all these sites because there will be like a lot of code. So this is the default code you will get from the Nuxt.js team. I can remove it right now because we are not going to need it anymore. Then I have a section, which is a custom code from me, and I will explain it in a second. And we don't need anymore the logo of the Nuxt.js. Also, we don't need this component. Then I need to uncomment all this commented stuff, which I will explain in a second. And then we don't need any more styling because we use Tailwind. So our styling is already in the HTML. So what is happening here? The first thing you will notice is basically that we are expecting some story content, and that content always checked if there is exists a component. And if this component, and we are checking basically what kind of page we we want to render. So in this page, a story content.component should return the page. And then we know that we would like to render here a page, a simple page, not the landing page, not the article page, but just a page. Then we have basically just set up that we accepting a structure of the data will be like story and content. And then we need to load this content. And we are going to load it from the Storyblok API, which we installed already with the Storyblok minus Nuxt.js module. And we are going to load it using the async data right now. You could use also the fetch or the new fetch. But right now we are going to use asynchronous data, and we are asking the Storyblok API to get me only the home story. So we are not going, we know that we are on the index page, so we just want to get the data from the home and in the version of the data, of the draft. This is of course just made like this for this purpose of the presentation. In the real world, it will be a little bit complicated. More complicated as you will decide if you are on the draft, so you are like on the development environment or you are on the library environment, and according to that you will ask for draft or publish content. And also you will need to do a little bit more dynamic the whole routing, so you will ask for the story not like statically, that as I am doing here, that basically you will like do something like, okay, I need to the full flag for my story block. So I know that my path is XY, and I would like to get that path. And then you will ask basically here for story block and put here the first look variable. But we are not going to do that right now. And I'm going to save this. And after the save, we should see also the preview. So right now we already see the preview. So these are the components we just defined, and we also created that in the Nuxt.js. As you can see how it's working. That's cool, and it's working also here. So my page is working. I can like preview it. It's normal, very simple page. But here in the story block, we have also some outline, and I am able to click on all of these components, and basically I am opening the components then in the right side preview, and I can edit it. And after save, you can see also the reload. So first of all, why and how is working this this connection between the Storyblok and Nuxt.js? So that is achieved very quickly. Explanation, for example, here with this V editable block, which is also like installed by the Storyblok minus Nuxt.js, and you just send here basically the data you have, and then in the draft version of your API, we are always like sending this data. And then we are able to update and connect the data with the Storyblok editor. That was a little bit of a side note. But here, as you can see, after I change this to hello Welt, which is German, and I'm going to save, you can see that it's updated. And that's kind of cool. It's working. You can preview it, and but you have to save it always. And then if I would show you the history, you see like, okay, Samuel changed something to hello Welt. And it will like your history will be like full of this stuff. So could we do this better? And I think like really we could, and it's very easy. So how is implement this is that in the index page I registered here the mounted event, and the event is basically that the Storyblok is bridge is listening for publish and change event, and then we are forcing the Nuxt to reload the page, and this is okay and it's work. But we have also the possibility to listen an input event. And in this case, basically we reload the data, we just replace the data of the story content, so this data, with the latest data provided in the event. So if I save this right now, and I'm going to reload the visual editor, then we should see right now the real-time editing. So let's click here and let's change this back to Word, and it's editing. And that's really cool because this is one of the killing features for all the editors. They can like preview the website, they can drag and drop, they can like try different styles on the pictures, they can like do a different styling on the text, they see that all in the live, like in the moment as they are typing. And then in the same moment, they can like preview if the content is working on the mobile or on the iPad. And this all is just because of the Nuxt.js and all the capabilities of the VueJS with connection with the Nuxt. And then if I'm happy with the content I just created here, like, okay, let's make this copy paste and paste it here, then I can save it. And it's like, oh, like, okay, I just changed this one thing. And then I can publish it if I want. But still, this is cool. I think like it's working, but I promise you to create something like a block, very simple block that basically will show you a featured articles here on the homepage, and we are still not anywhere there. So let's jump to that topic and cover it very quickly. So how you would do that? So first of all, we need an article. So if I would like to have a blog, I need a component called article. So let's create one article. And in this case, I would like to have an article that I'm going to create here. It will be a content type because I would probably would like to have it as a page in the future, even if I'm not going to cover it right now in this talk. So let's create the article as a content type, and then let's give it a title, intro, and author for now. So title, intro, author, and let's put also some prose, so some text that would be like rendered, where will be the content. So the text in, the title in this moment is, okay, it will be like, it will be text. I don't need anything other. It will be field type text. The intro, I would like to have it a little bit longer, so let's make it text, which is basically a longer text field. Then the authors, for now, I would be very happy to make it like a single option so that I could choose from existing authors, and there will be not possible to have a multiple authors. And I'm going to right now just define all the authors in this field, even if I could like load it from other stories, languages, data sources, external JSONs. So let's add here my name, Samuel and Samuel, and let's put here also the Dominic, the name of the CEO of Storyblok. So save it. And the prose, okay, so how I would like to create like my text of the blog post or for the article, it would be like probably one of these two things, or rich text or the markdown. You can create like more complicated stuff if you really want, but okay, let's go for rich text. And I don't need anything like special setup for the rich text right now. So now save it. Okay, I just created I just defined the schema of the article. And at this moment, I didn't create any component in Nuxt.js, but I'm already like able to say to my editors and writers like, hey, I just created this stuff, and you can create the articles if you want. You don't have to wait for me. I'm not blocking you. So let's go just to the content and create a folder called articles, because probably we would like to keep it in one folder. And let's define that it will contain the articles, and create a folder. And let's create the first article. So I'm going to create a first article, which should be called my first article. What else? And yeah, okay, let's create it. And now we have two things. One thing is that, okay, we didn't create any preview for the Nuxt.js, so there is like, it's not really nice to have it here. So if I would go for editing, I would like to probably go to focusing on the writing of it. So let's we can minimize the preview mode, or even I would go back to the folder of the articles and just like disable the Visual Composer, because we don't need to, we are not going to create that page anyway in the Nuxt.js. So I prepare some content already that I don't have to type all of it. So Nuxt.js is awesome. Let's put there also the intro text and choose like me as an author. And yeah, okay, I'm not going to type anything here right now. That was just as like sample that how it will look like. So let's save it. and I have my first article. Let's create a second article, which I'm lazy, so I'm going to copy paste it. Second, duplicate, open it, and the content will be like, in this case, is that I think Storyblok is cool, and also like put here, oh, sorry, yeah, this one, and the author will be Dominic, and let's save it. So I just created two articles, and I would like to have it like as a featured like article. So I would like to have on the homepage here a possibility to add a new a component or new section where I would feature and manually pick the articles that should be featured. So how to do that? It's like if I try to get at a blog, then I don't see here anything like that. So let's go back to the component and create one more new one more component. Sorry, it's too late for me. Featured articles will be the name, and it will be nestable. So create it, and it should contain a list of articles. So let's call the field articles and the field, and set up the field. In this case, I would like to go for multi-option because I would like to choose a multiple articles as a feature. And as a source, I'm going to choose a stories. And as the folder that we are going to pick from, it will be articles. So simple. So save it. And that's it. Basically, I created the featured articles component. So if I go back to the content and open the home, I'm able to see a new component here, or new block that I'm able also to use. So let's add a new featured articles block. And I see also my articles, so I can pick both of them and I can save it. But still, I don't see the preview in the visual editor. That's why I didn't create it, the Nuxt.js component for this. Okay, that's correct. We know why. And if I check the draft JSON, I see here on the bottom that in our array is added a new component called featured articles that contains an array of UIDs of my articles, my stories. Great. Okay, so let's use it. So how to do that in the Nuxt.js? Let's jump back to the Nuxt.js and check what I created here. So I have here a featured articles, which is also a component in Storyblok. I can increment this code, which the first part is rendering a block title. So the title of my section, which I didn't define in the schema, so we will need to fix this. The second is the list, another list of all my articles with little bit styling and basically with the cycles, with basically 4 cycles that is getting through this, my articles. And then it's rendering it using the article teaser component, which is getting some content which should be rendered. And the article teaser content is doing nothing else than just rendering the title of the article, intro of the article, and the outro of the article that I already defined a few minutes ago. So if I save these featured articles, we should see the difference, but still we need to do one more thing, and that's the component JS, and we need to also register our two new components. So now, right now, it's registered. The Nuxt.js is already rebuilding this, great. And I will see the change, but we don't see really any article teasers. So there's still something wrong. But you can see, we see already outline, so the Nuxt.js knows like, okay, you send me some data. We know that here should be some featured articles component, but still we don't know what to show it here. So first, as you remember, I forgot to add into the schema the title. So let's change very quickly the title through the visual editor. So let's define the schema here. Let's add the title field. Let's reorder it. Come on, what is going on? Yeah, now let's save it. And let's type here featured articles. Okay, so we see that it's working. Also, the real-time editing is working. That's cool. And the problem here is that we sent to the Nuxt.js only the UIDs. If you remember here, we didn't send the real content. And the Nuxt.js is our component in Nuxt.js is expecting the real content. So this is like, there is like 3, even maybe more options how to do this. The one of the options is on the Storyblok side, that you could use like resolve relationships, because this is basically that there is a relationship between the home story to the articles. And we could say like, okay, resolve these articles and send me all the data about these articles. And you will get the JSON fill with all the data also from the articles stories. And the second option is something you need to be a little bit familiar with the Nuxt.js probably, and is that just let's use a store, let's load it into the Vuex. And how to do that? So I already created a store in the store, something called references.js, where I'm expecting to like load my articles, and it's like empty array at the beginning, and they are not loaded. And there's basically 2 setters that will set the articles and set also the loaded state to 1. So where do I need to load my articles is there's multiple places. In this case, I'm just having only one index page. So I am going to load them on the index page because I know that featured article is used only on the index page. And I am using for that asynchronous fetch function, which will basically get a content and we'll find out, okay, did we already loaded our references, our articles? No, we didn't load them. So if we didn't load them, let's ask Storyblok API for all the articles from the folder articles in the version draft. And this, of course, should be like edited, maybe even like complicated with cache version, etc. But right now we just get all our articles and we will save them into the Vuex. Second option, how to do it, will be also the new fetch, which you could use also directly into the featured article. But it's not covered here, but I have also covered this in the VueJS, and if you check the VueJS.tips, there's like how to use a new fetch from the Nuxt.js, which is also very nice resources for Nuxt.js content and VueJS content. So, okay, I just set up this and save it. Then if I check the featured articles, you can see here that I am getting a computed sorted, a data called sorted articles. And I'm loading here the articles from the store, which I'm also filter them that I'm only included those which I included in the JSON. So if I like click and don't choose all of them, then I don't show all of the articles, of course. So if I save now and I go to the preview, you can see there are the 2 teasers for 2 articles I just created. So, okay, I can click here and I can like unselect all of them and I can select both of them. But I would like to do one more thing, and that's it like, okay, let's save this, changes, and let's create a third article because it will be like easier to see it. So third, and that's basically the last thing I will be showing here. And that will be like Vue.js Columbus is cool. Save it. And right now, okay, let's use this. Go to home. And right now, let's choose also the third article. And this is a featured, these are the featured articles. And the one feature I would like to have about the featured articles, like, is also to order them as I would like to prefer. Like, there is like, I would like to have like the best article in the first place. So how to do that? You can like do that in the Storyblok already. So if I show only the selected ones, I can reorder them. As you can see here, they are don't changing the order. If I save and I would like jump to the draft JSON, then the UIDs they changed, but we didn't like define anything like about the ordering and sorting in the Nuxt.js. And this is what cool about what's cool about the JavaScript, about the Nuxt.js and these modern frameworks. To implement basically the sorting according to data that we already have is a matter of 3 lines of the code, literally 3 lines, which could be even like shorter. And it's like just defining the sort function, which which you can read how the sort function are working, but it's basically like comparing the position of the UIDs in the JSON we are sending, and according to that, it will like reorder our features, our sorted articles in this case. So right now, if I save this, and this should be already reloaded, but let's make it sure. You see the Storyblok is the first one, and if I drag and drop it, then the VueJS Columbus is the first one. And if I jump it here, then we are changing it, the order. We can save it, publish it, and it's in this case, in this moment, it would be like trigger the webhook to the Netlify or to the Verser, and the whole website will be like deployed, and the building process will start. And the good thing is also like we created the featured articles component, and we can reuse it. So let's say like we would like to create just listing all of the Nuxt.js articles. So I would just like copy paste existing component with all the content I have, and I'm going to like unselect. Okay, which one is now the Nuxt.js? Okay, this one. So I'm going to unselect all of them. I'm going to change the header to Nuxt.js articles, and I can save it. And then I can also like, let's go for like make the first feature the first one. And then I just created some kind of template for a website that would need a little bit more styling with the tailwind, and everything is live and on. All the stuff you would need to do that right now to like deploy this stuff. It should be like type of Vercel. So you would go like here, log into Vercel and just type the Vercel, set up a little bit Vercel for the Nuxt.js because it's needed to be set up. And this is also like explained in the article I will share in a moment with you. And that's it. And this is also the end of the live coding in this presentation. And basically, this is brought me to my almost last slide, which is like you would like to read a little bit deeper how it's working the Nuxt.js, how it do create like it as a multi-language and how to deploy it. Then you can check basically this link where it's explained also. And thanks to you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, let's ask them. And I'm happy to answer any questions you would like to have.
Thank you, Samuel. Thank you for going us over all the features about Storyblok and how you can use it with Nuxt.js. And it's like with minimum sort of code, we can, if someone is trying to create a new blog or a new site, so they can basically go over, use Storyblok, do the basic templating stuff, design your pages, organize them, and they just get it deployed and go from there, right?
I mean, yes, but not only like simple like blocks. There are like big companies like Happy Socks, which are running right now, also like in the head on the Storyblok, and other big companies using different headless solutions. It's like really we are really a thing that you can run a big websites, applications, and anything. It's like this is like just a simple like taste of all the features, I would say. The point was also like how to show also the Nuxt.js, like how amazing is like to work with a framework like that, which I totally love.
Yep. The floor is open for questions. Feel free to send in your questions.
Any questions in the chat or somewhere? I don't see the chat right now, so let me know.
Yeah, I'm basically monitoring them. Cool. So so let's say generally in big websites, right, we have like a dev, test, and production, right? So if you want to use Storyblok, and if we have to achieve that environment-based content, so how one can do using Storyblok?
Yeah, you have multiple ads. Of course, this is a big thing, and this is basically what is the big difference? What makes CMS a CMS? Because there are like a ton of Git-based CMSs which are great for exactly the solution I just showed. So if you like to create like your own blog, go for Git-based CMS because it's like all you need. You are the only person who will be probably editing it. But if you want to have like content authoring, and this is exactly the case, like planning to schedule different content, you should look for bigger CMSs, in my opinion. And this is like Storyblok has the whole feature there. There's like pipelines you can where you can freeze the content and then have like a multi-stage approval process. You can have a workflows where you can set up your custom workflow that only people who are editors can edit it in the draft mode. But if you already said okay, the next stage like Trello boards, basically you move it in the next, only the people who are enabled to approve can move it to the next stage, and only people with the real right to publish it can hit the publish button at the end. And then of course the another big thing is the scheduled content, which is basically that you want to edit multiple stories, like you will have a summer sale or whatever. So in that case, you probably edit multiple stories, and you don't want to basically click publish on every of those. So there is a really good website for that, where you can read it on the Storyblok documentation. I can show you that. So if you go for Storyblok and developer guide, which we are recreating the whole this area, but this one is already done. So it's content authoring, and you can read about the basic workflow, custom workflows, then of course commenting, approval, then scheduled content or scheduling only the part of the story, and into the really enterprises stuff, which is pipelines. And this is really the highest level of the security, where every pipeline and then every I not like to call it branch, but basically it's a branch. Has its own API key. So only the people and only the application that are allowed to publish this branch with the API key really have access to that. So yeah, that would be probably the answer. I mean, the answer would be for a very long discussion and showcase, of course, but yeah. This is
I think I was kind of looking out. Basically, the pipeline is what will be basically answering my question on having different environments or different stages of content.
And then in Storyblok, basically, it's also how to use it with Vercel and Netlify, because you can have multiple repos or multiple versions of your environment in Vercel. So if you doing rebranding of your front end, for example, then you could do something like this, and I can also show it. So if you go to App Storyblok, and basically I would go okay, I just need to go to here, and in the settings, basically you can set up okay, this is the production and this development, and let's say I have a redesign, and the redesign is then living on some I don't know, Vercel or whatever is it, and my company / something, and then you will see the redesign website, basically your website with a new design, but with old content just reused in the different front end. And oh, sorry, I didn't present this, and this is basically in the visual editor. You just go here, and you just go okay, I would like to see a production or development, and then you can go also open the preview link, and then you just take the preview link and share it where you want. And I just kill this, so this is why it's not working, of course. So, and this URL, if I would send this URL to you, you can also private in your computer, in your browser. And every time I save a change, this is a draft version, you can reload it and see basically what are the changes.
Cool. Any other questions we have for Samuel while he's here?
Any Nuxt.js question, maybe?
Yeah. Cool. I think we don't have any further questions, Samuel. Thank you for speaking with us today, and thank you for explaining the portions about Storyblok. Thank you all for joining us from Zoom, as well as thank you for joining on Twitch as well. We hope to meet you at our next meetup. Thank you all.
Thank you for having me here. It was nice to be here.